What's up, you guys? So we have another series. Apparently we are working on like 12 different builds right now, but this one I'm pretty excited for. So this is
Jake
from State Farm or what?
BOOSTN300.
All right, there we go. And this is his Chrysler 300 that I convinced him to buy. So Jake here is my girlfriend's little brother, aka partially my son. We live together, and this is his car. So what's all done to this thing?
So this car is just basic 5.7. We have simple bolt-ons, intake Holly, basic catless and everything, and just, you know, intake and everything.
So what are we gonna do to it? So yeah, we have problems in this household, really big problems apparently. So what is that there, bud?
It's a 6872 VSR Racing oilless turbo 0.96 AR.
Okay, so a pretty big turbo on a V8, another turboed V8 in this household. That is ridiculous. So the real catch to this thing is it is completely stock internals and a stock trans. So we are going to be pushing this thing to its absolute limits. And we're gonna have fun while doing it. So yeah, we're gonna get into the install on this thing, and that's part of this series is going to be pretty much building this car to go down the track as fast as we possibly can with a stock 5.7. First plans with this car is going to be dropping the front bumper, getting the intercooler fixed up, and then we are going to figure out how we're going to fit the turbo in this small little area here. And by doing that, we're gonna have to relocate the power steering, possibly relocate the coolant. We're gonna have to cut some of the panel here, and then other than that, I think we're gonna install a few gauges. So we got this Mishimoto intercooler, and Jake did the proper measurements, so it is just going to slide up right there. Fits perfectly. So we're just going to get some straight brackets to hold it in place. We're going to run the Menards real quick.
And the total edge
6 inches?
6 inches.
All right, guys, so we got these nice coated brackets right here. They're 6 inches long, which should be absolutely perfect for this. And then an assortment of nuts and bolts. There, sure, right around there. We were able to get the intercooler mounted. Next is we have to cut this panel right here so we have more clearance for the turbo. We're also going to take out the wheel liner, and then we have to relocate one ground, but that's it. So shouldn't be too hard. Nice. So we were able to cut this panel out. We put some trim edger on there and then just primed over it so we don't get any rust. We're going to relocate the power steering, but we think we're going to use a universal one and mount it somewhere else in the engine bay so that way it's completely out of the way. Alright guys, so now we are in the cockpit and we are just finishing up mounting these gauges. So we have our boost controller as well as our fuel pressure. We're going to mount right here on top. He can monitor oil pressure through his stock cluster. I have the gauges installed. Ashley's keeping me company because Jake went to go sell a nitrous kit and he left me by myself to work on his car, so that's fun. But I wired everything up, so we have AFR, we have our boost controller slash gauge, and our fuel pressure all in one, and it works just simply with the key on. So now we got everything ran through the firewall, and currently I am hooking up the boost solenoid. So we have our boost line here, our boost reference, and I have the boost solenoid right here. I'm just doing a single bracket mount, so I took this small 90, attached that little bracket onto the solenoid. I plugged it up just how the manual calls for a single turbo setup with an external wastegate, and I'm going to go ahead and wire it in. It has two brown wires here, and those go to this harness right here, which just has a red and a black for signal wires in order to control the solenoid. So I'm going to go ahead and find a good place to mount this. So I use this ground port right here to mount the solenoid. We use that and just went straight through the firewall. I have the boost reference cable as well as the fueling cable all wrapped up. They're just down there by the brake booster, and those will be installed later when we actually take the intake manifold off to plug everything properly. Up until then, we have the power steering, which we still have to relocate, but we're going to get a universal power steering reservoir to mount somewhere else in the engine bay. I'm thinking around this area should be good. We went ahead and reinstalled the headlight. We're just going to throw the front bumper back on and we're done for the day because this is Jake's daily. As a great mechanic once said, if you end up with more bolts at the end of your install, you're just better than the engineer.